Serving it up to you live on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. I'm Bruce Nolan. That's Nate Geary. And this is Food for Thought, a show combining two of your three favorite F words. That's right, food and football. The third one is the ever so forgotten, but ever so lovely Friendlies.
Your
Nate,
neighborhood
Friendlies?
Absolutely. I remember Friendlies. What an elite place that used to be. I mean, just that was the place for vibes. Friendlies.
All the vibes at Friendlies.
Yes.
Did you get the peanut butter sundae from Friendlies?
Oh, come on. That was the elite of the elite Sundays at Friendlies. I was also a big banana split guy because it was just absolutely absurd. And it was one of those things like our neighborhood Friendlies left for a long time in Hamburg. It was on South Park in the village of Hamburg, right by the fairgrounds. It's there forever when I was a kid. That was like the Friendlies. And then it went away for, like almost a decade, only to pop back up in Hamburg near the McKinley Mall, not too far, Bruce, from where I took you and your lovely wife to go get pizza at Picasso's, which I'm sure you'll do a read on here in just a moment. And then that also recently closed. So although Friendlies was the elite vibe maker, had a tough time. Listen, every chain restaurant has a tough time here in Buffalo. Like Ruby Tuesdays, I think, closed a long while back. There are Applebee's. Applebee's do seem to thrive in Buffalo for some weird, odd reason. But yeah, Friendlies it just was not meant for the long run here in Buffalo.
It's Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is the reason why Applebee's thrive, along with Dave & Buster's.
That's true.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
Matt in the comment section says he misses the Conehead Sundae. I miss the Conehead Sundae too. The Sundae, and they flip the cone upside down and put it on there. Yeah. And they put the little dots on there with Reese's Pieces, so it looks like they have eyes. Yeah. Speaking of Picasso's Pizza, I'm thrilled. I love the fact that I get to do a Picasso's Pizza ad read. I really do, because I love Picasso's Pizza. I really do.
You do.
My wife has gone on record as saying it's the best pizza she ever had, period. And every show on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network is presented by Picasso's Pizza. Treat yourself to the most flavorful pizza on game day. Picasso's We Are Buffalo Pizza, shipping locally and nationwide. Order online at picassospizza.net. Nate, do you have your drink ready for tonight?
Yeah, I always do.
So I poured myself about 2 fingers worth of Vanilla Crown and mixed it with root beer. And I have that in front of me so that we will be ready for the Food for Thought drinking game. But if you are out there and you pour yourself a Genesee, get ready. Because since 1878, Genesee has poured generations of brewing knowledge into each pint, can, and bottle of their beer. They make no sacrifices when it comes to their beer, brewing each with the highest quality ingredients for a consistently great drinking experience. Look for Genesee Beer, Genesee Light, Cream Ale, and their specialty line with beers like Ruby Red Kolsch and Oktoberfest. Genesee Brewery, Rochester, New York. Nate is pantomiming drinking out of the Genesee Brewery pint glass. A reminder that you should hit all the engagement buttons, like, subscribe, rate, review. Any super chats greater than $10 get a Genesee pint glass. Just make sure you're following at Genesee Brewery on Twitter and DM at Nate Geary Sports. Proof of the super chat and the Genesee follow with your address to get it. Nate, are you ready?
I'm ready for this episode. I got some good stuff.
We got some good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Trey says, Bruce, I know you're not Buffalo local. Have you tried Picasso's Pizza shipped nationwide? I have not, because quite frankly, I just don't want to pay for it.
I didn't know that it shipped.
It ships. It's just significant.
Yeah.
It's like $100 for 2 pizzas or something.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, why do that when you can come visit your friend? That's me, and we could just go get it.
Right. Exactly. We could just do
By the way, Bruce, last week, maybe it was last weekend Saturday, we had someone tweet that they came up to me when I was at an event on Saturday night and said, kind of came up to me. It was kind of a loud setting, so he kind of brushed over into my ear and said, you can tell me, is Bruce here? I said, he is always here. He's among us. He lives among us, and you'd never know.
You'd never know.
But he said, I told him, listen, man, he is as mysterious as the wind. You'll never know. And he said, you're clearly a good friend. And I said, yeah. He said, your secret is certainly safe with me, which is true.
Well, I appreciate that. JR says Vanilla Crown and root beer sounds amazing. It is.
It does sound very good.
I am a very, very good mixologist. And I would not steer you wrong. So pull out your Vanilla Crown root beer, your Jenny, or whatever it is you got, and get ready for the Food for Thought drinking game. Quick recap of the Food for Thought drinking game. Take a drink if any of the following things occurs. Number 1, either host mentions their pet. That's probably going to happen. Number 2, either host mentions their Dynasty Fantasy Football League. Number 3, Nate's cat jumps on his show during the show, jumps on his lap during the show. Number 4, Nate name drops a local Buffalo restaurant. Applebee's does not count. Number 5, the third F of the show is some subset of food. In this case, it was Friendly's. Everybody take a drink because we already hit number 5. Number 6, there's a super chat. Number 7, a winner or loser of the week is some version of all of us. Number 8, Bruce says what I mean by that is. Number 9, Bruce gives a fictional reason why his camera isn't working. And number 10, Nate openly Googles something during the show. Let's get moving. So the theme of tonight's show, Mr. Geary, is best served cold. Because the Buffalo Bills are getting ready for their second game against the New York Jets. And the first game against the New York Jets did not exactly go the way you wanted it to.
No, it did not.
But the Jets are a different team at this point. The Bills are a different team at this point.
Certainly.
And if you want revenge, it is best served cold. So let's talk about some foods that you otherwise might not have thought of that you believe are best served cold. Nate, what you got?
So the easiest choice and maybe most common choice here is going to be pizza. People do tend to like pizza cold better than they like it, fresh and warm. Cold pizza's fine. But I more than likely am going to warm it up at least a little bit. I don't need, when I have leftover pizza, I don't necessarily need to have the cheese remelted. In fact, most times I find that with a lot of greasy cheeses, it's not particularly good when you have to reheat it and try to get it melted down. It almost takes too long. You end up burning the bottom in an attempt to get the cheese back to the sort of fresh state that it came in. So I am not going to choose leftover pizza as the dish best served cold. I'm going to do one that might be out of left field, Bruce. And I'm not sure if you've ever experienced or ever had this, but my food that I prefer is fried chicken.
Oh my. Fried chicken cold.
Yes.
Okay.
So
listening.
When I was a kid, there's not a lot of great places in Buffalo for fried chicken. Like, we didn't get a Popeyes until like 3 or 4 years ago. So that was the issue for me, is I never had access to it. Now this is going to kind of sound embarrassing for people that are listening that are in places that have, generally speaking, good fried chicken, but Tops had the best fried chicken around. I used to actually, whenever like my dad would get it for us, because, my dad was single, and, when me and my sister went to go, stay with my dad for the weekend, he would cook, but like, he's also like, let's go get some Tops fried chicken. And there was a Tops right near where he lived. And I always remembered eating all the sides first. He'd maybe make mashed potatoes. So I'd eat the mashed potatoes. I'd have my pop. And what I'd want to do is I'd let that chicken almost get to like room temperature. But there was something about leaving it in the bag, like kind of, closing up the bag, putting it in the fridge, and then the next morning waking up and having a drumstick that's cold, fresh out of the fridge. Bruce, I don't know what it is, but it's like the coat gets like a little saltier. First of all, you don't rip into it and immediately burn your mouth apart. But really what it comes down to is, for when it's cold like that, the chicken, like the meat itself, actually tends to bind better to the skin. And I don't know, it just creates this delicious, salty, perfect bite. Yeah, I don't know. Cold fried chicken, man. It's just, if you've never done it, you should try it.
So I am not embarrassed when you say that Tops has the best fried chicken around.
Okay.
Because my local supermarket also has the best fried chicken around. And I usually try and get there at 11:05 on like a Saturday morning.
Sure.
Right when it comes out of the fryer.
Fresh batch. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll be like, hey, did you Janice? Because of course they always have a Janice, right? every deli every grocery store you ever been to has a Janice.
That's right.
So I say, hey, Janice. She goes, hey, Bruce, what's up? I say, hey, help me out here. How old's that chicken? She goes, honey, I just took it out. I said,
I just pulled it.
That's what I'm talking about.
That is the good stuff.
I said, Troy says, hook a Brewster up. He says in there. Yes, hook a Brewster up. That's exactly right.
That is right.
I'm not ashamed of that because fried chicken from a grocery store is completely reasonable. If you have a
Good.
gigantic,
I'm glad.
Usually they have a gigantic pressure cooker in the back, and there's nothing. It's nothing saying you can't get good fried chicken from a grocery store. Like
no, but like
intrinsically about a grocery store that would tell you can't.
It feels like barbecue, Bruce, in that it's really meant for a place that doesn't have tables. Like, when you walk into a barbecue joint or a fried chicken joint and there's nowhere indoors to sit, like, that you've now made it to a destination place for whatever food you're about to eat. And like, it's funny when I travel, like going on Instagram now is kind of easy. Like you can just kind of see what great restaurants and you get to actually see the food, which I think from a quality assurance perspective, it's hard to beat knowing and seeing something before you eat it, right? It's almost like you can taste it when you see it. At least when good restaurants post good content like that on Instagram, it could be their best friend, right? Because you can get people far and wide to go to your restaurant based on the way your food looks. You're doing something right. But a lot of the places that serve the best food aren't necessarily like the best places to look at. They're not the prettiest places. One of the best fried chickens I've ever had, piece of fried chicken I've ever had, Bruce, came from a gas station.
Oh, yeah.
Like
that tracks.
It's now that doesn't go for everything. You're not going to find the best sushi you've ever had in the gas station, but you will and can absolutely find very good fried chicken. Your point about the pressure cook is an important one. That's really where you're making the best fried chicken.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So for me, the food that is best served cold is tagalongs. Girl Scout cookies, right? Girl Scout cookies.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
Out of the fridge.
There's the peanut butter one tagalongs?
Yep.
Okay.
And here's the reason why. So, because they're coated in chocolate, but there's a peanut butter layer, the heat from your fingers will cause it to melt a little bit. And that also changes fundamentally the texture of the tagalong.
Yeah, I imagine.
If you want to get a nice, hard, solid tagalong, you get it from the fridge. Now, you can also, if you are an Aldi person like I am,
me as well,
you can get the imitation tagalongs for typically 99 cents or $1.19 from Aldi and throw those in the fridge. And I always have them around in case I want a cookie. And I didn't want to say, Troy says Thin Mints and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, to me, that's right up there with pizza as far as everyone says that. So I didn't want to say it for that specific reason because everybody says that. So for me, Girl Scout cookies, tagalongs specifically, are markedly better served cold.
I think I'll have to try that next time.
It's solid. I would not steer you wrong.
Oh, I know you wouldn't steer me wrong.
Moving along. We're going to try something a little different here because usually we talk about if the last game was a food. But this is a very rare thing for us because the last game happened last Thursday, but our last show was last Friday. So we already did that on Bills Pats. So we're going to do it moving forward because I thought this was a good opportunity to do a future game as a food. So we are going to say, what if Bills Jets Take 2? Bills Jets V 2.0 was a food. What kind of food would it be? And I'm going to go first.
Okay.
It is an Asian buffet.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why, Nate. When you go to an Asian buffet and you grab your plate the first time through, you don't ever do it right.
No, that's right. You don't.
You don't ever do it right the first time through.
Because so right.
You're usually compulsive and you're grabbing things as they appear to you. First things you see. Yeah. Oh, I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. It's only the second time through the buffet that you really get it. You know why? Because you've sampled everything. You know what you like. You know what you don't like. You know what works, what doesn't work. You know what flavor combinations you want to try. It always takes a second time through an Asian buffet to get right.
It's a good one, Bruce.
And for Bills Jets V2, I think there's a lot of things you can point back to from the first Bills Jets game that did not go the way that they wanted it to go. They did not have the game that they wanted to have. But sometimes you need to go through the Asian buffet one time and, go, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to go ahead and try it. I'm not sure how much I trust the Mugu Gai Pan here, but I'm going to give it a shot. I don't know if we want to run outside zone against this team or not. I don't know if we want to do man or gap, man gap or inside zone duos. I don't know what I want to run. I don't know how much I can get away with testing Sauce Gardner the first time through. Sometimes you need to test out a sauce on the Asian buffet to know if it's going to work for you or not.
That's a good one.
Brian Daly says it's crab rangoon because the Jets are fake AF. That's fun. I love this show.
Congrats on that, Brian. Congrats on that,
I love this show.
Yeah, that's good.
I love the people who watch it with us.
I love it.
So for me, Bills Jets, Asian buffet, and the reason that is because it's always better the second time through.
I love that. I'm going to stick with a theme from our last, right? Best served cold. And I'm going to go a little different route than you did. I like how your food simile played on the matchup as a whole, like, being the second time around. I'm going to go kind of in more of a predictive food simile here. And I'm going to say if Bills Jets was a food, it'd be a slice of New York style pizza. And for the, sake of them being kind of close to New York City, it's got a good theme. But here's why. Is it the best style pizza, Bruce? In my humble opinion, it is not the best style of pizza. I concur. But the New York style has certain elite qualities of the kind of pizza that I'm looking for. Not all of the best qualities, but a couple of them. I maybe want to compare like the crust of a New York style pizza to the group of New York Jets corners, right? I think it's the best part of the pizza of a New York style pizza is a fluffy yet crusty outside crust. Like I want a little bit of soft inside and hard outside. And because of how thin the pizza is, you do tend to get a nice puffy crust that if cooked perfectly, you can get the crunch with the softness inside. You get the dual textures. So I think it's the best part of New York style pizza is the crust. And sometimes I'll just kind of be in it for the crust. I'll make my way through the rest of that New York style pizza. But there doesn't, to me anyways, Bruce. And this is part of why I still feel like I haven't had that best piece of New York style pizza that everyone talks about. There's just never, well, I'll get to that part. But before I get to that, I can't get away the punchline of this joke. So the crust is elite, like the Jets corners. Their young pass catchers in general are the light level of cheese on a New York style pizza, which I'm not a huge over cheese. That's the one thing about Buffalo pizza that always kind of irks me is there's too much cheese on that damn pizza. But at the end of the day, Bruce, I just don't think the New York style has enough sauce for the Jets to win. I think sauce is great, but I also like DJ Reed a lot. But I don't think their corners this time around are going to be enough to beat them. And the big reason is I think that there's enough film on this Jets defense to know that they are vulnerable over the middle of the field. They're bottom 10 in the league in DVOA in defense between or inside, and their slot corner is not what they have on the outside. Their linebackers are a little bit. Quincy Williams is a good piece. He's a better run piece than he is a pass. A pass defender. And CJ Mosley at this point in his career does not have the same kind of top end speed. And don't tell me they scored with 3 minutes left. Son of a bee sting. But at the end of the day, the thing that I love about your Detroit style, my Detroit style, right, is that extra kind of sauciness to it. And I think that's really where the flavor of a good pizza comes from. And I don't think there's enough sauce on a New York style pizza. And I don't think sauce alone is going to be able to help the Jets win this football game. I also think the Bills just have Mike White's number, dating back to last year. And I think he's had a couple of good games. Last week, he turned the ball over a couple of times. I think it's going to be cold. I think I know a couple of weeks ago when he made his first start, he did it in the rain against the Bears, but it's going to be 35 and cold and raining and a wintry mix. And the Bills, again, wanting that revenge. I just don't think there's going to be enough sauce for them to win.
Yeah, I think the Mike White thing is very apt, that the Buffalo Bills really had his number last year, but he also didn't have Garrett Wilson last year.
No, he did not.
So I think that matters a lot because Garrett Wilson is good at playing football.
But the one thing, I think people forget how many things, there were a lot of things about that New York game, right? The Bills have Terrell Bernard play almost 100% of the snaps in that game for Matt Milano. Now, will Matt Milano be ready and be playing in this game? We don't know the answer to that question yet. Seems like it could be a 50-50 proposition. Questionable going to go into that game. We'll see if he plays. If he does, I think it's a huge advantage for the Bills. But I think what this game will feature that the other one didn't is if Matt Milano's out, it's not going to be the rookie Terrell Bernard in there. It'll be A.J. Klein. And I feel much better about this defense's ability to stop the run with A.J. Klein in place of Matt Milano than I did for Tyrell Bernard, who I just don't, or Terrell Bernard, who I think kind of his size got a little exposed in that first matchup. And, I like obviously that final drive where they run right down the field on the Bills. Like, I think the Bills are in a better position to stop the run this time around. They're not really using James Robinson. They're on RB3, 4, and 5 right now. The offensive line is still kind of playing well. George Fant is playing well. Dwayne Brown is is it Dwayne Brown? It's Dwayne Brown, right? Mm-hmm. Their left tackle? Yeah. He's starting to really kind of hit his stride. He's back. He's healthy. And I know no Jordan Phillips. That hurts as well. But having A.J. Klein in place of Terrell Bernard, if Matt Milano can't go, to me is a big difference in this matchup this time around.
Moving along, we are going to say that we're not done with the Odell Beckham thing.
We're never done.
We're not done.
We're never done.
When I initially set up this show and I set up these rooms, I thought to myself, I swear if Odell Beckham signs with someone like 10 minutes before the show, I'm going to be really upset.
Just so pissed.
Just so upset because I was really looking forward to this particular food simile. That a potential Odell Beckham Jr. signing makes me feel like. Nate, kick us off.
I like this one a lot for myself as well. Potential OBJ signing makes me feel like, do you remember John Brown last week when we talked about John Brown and I said John Brown was like McDonald's late night drive-through and all I want is some good fries and you just never know. You just don't know what you're getting with John Brown. Well,
I just want you to know before you move on with this that inspired my wife, and late night on Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember. I think it was Saturday. Late night, we got in the car. We drove to McDonald's. We got some hot fries.
And generally,
how were awesome. They were great.
They were good. Okay.
They were great.
Well, I'm proud. I'm glad for you, and I'm glad this inspired it. But I also recently did a late night, or not super late, but it was like 10:30. And again, it was last week. I was inspired by this segment, and it was exactly what I feared it would be: soggy, limp, overly salty. But I'm glad you guys got to experience it because I did not. But the reason I bring this up is I'm going to channel another McDonald's food simile for Odell Beckham Jr. and the potential of signing him. And it's not late night French fries. But what it is, Bruce, is it's like going to McDonald's and wanting a milkshake right around 8 p.m. There's a good chance those lazy bleeps turned off the ice cream machine. I think there is a nationwide conspiracy around McDonald's franchises specifically turning off ice cream machines when I crave ice cream. And the Sabres scored to tie it with minute 30. What do you know about it? And I think the one thing that Odell Beckham Jr. and McDonald's ice cream machines have in common is they only want to keep it open in the afternoon because it takes a long time to clean later on, right? And Odell Beckham, he only wants to play in the playoffs. He doesn't want to play in the regular season. Doesn't want to work out for teams. Like, can I trust it? Can I get to the drive-thru with a craving for ice cream and expect I'm going to get that milkshake, that ice cream, that McFlurry Or am I going to go there and be disappointed? And I feel that way right now with Odell Beckham Jr. as I'm not convinced that Mia is in a position where not only is he just going to walk into a playoff game, I think that's incredibly difficult. And I think that's the wrong mindset for him to have. And I think that's probably, in a way, scaring a lot of the teams off that are interested in signing him. I think that also probably takes the New York Giants out of this. And I do think, and I have thought for a while, this is a Cowboys-Bills race with maybe the Eagles as being that dark horse sitting in the background. But yeah, I don't know. Can I trust it, Bruce? Can I trust that he's healthy enough to help me now? And if he can't help me till the playoffs, I'm not. And this is not for me a signing for the future, right? Like the Sabres, this isn't trading for Calvin Ridley, right? This isn't, hey, that'll help us next year. The Bills need someone that can help them this year. And waiting until the playoffs to find out what you have with no margin for error, I don't know.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
There is a nationwide conspiracy, though. I want to reiterate that.
They see you pull up and they're like, oh, crap.
Turn off the machines.
They all have your picture hanging next to the drive-through window.
When you see this man, turn the power off.
Have you seen this man? He comes here specifically for ice cream, and we must not allow him to have it. So, for me, the Bills potentially signing Odell Beckham makes me feel like it's really late at night, and I'm trying to decide if a Crave case is a good idea. Crave case is a White Castle case of many, many, many cheeseburgers.
I'm full. Is it 30 or is it not? Is that
too many? So many. It is so many. I am going to, you know what? You want to Google that?
Yeah. I'll Google that.
I feel like you should Google that. Everybody. Yeah, it's 30, by the way.
It is. So I got that in Vegas, and I'm pretty sure that's what either triggered my deathly illness or yeah, I did that, Bruce, and I can tell you that it was detrimental for my health.
Well, you're sitting there trying to decide what's going to be, because there's only two outcomes to getting a Crave case late at night. The first one is it's legendary. It is legend. Wait for it. And I hope you're not lactose intolerant, because the last syllable of that word is dairy. Or it's a disaster. It could be legendary or it could be disaster. For Rams fans, it's legendary. They're going to tell the story. Do you think the fact that the Rams bought an entire Super Bowl on a credit card and now have to turn around and pay for it, do you think they care?
No.
Rams fans don't care. They got a chip. They don't care. So for them, it's legendary. For Browns fans who got the same thing, it's not so legendary. It's a disaster. So when Browns fans think about the trade, in this case, for Odell Beckham Jr., they don't view it positively. But when Rams fans do, they got the same thing. They both got Odell Beckham. For one person, it ended up being legendary. For the other person, it ended up being a disaster. And the funny thing is that whether or not it is a legendary situation or a disaster situation is based entirely on the way you digest it. Because Odell Beckham is the same guy Odell Beckham's always been. I am not surprised. I am not surprised that Odell Beckham is not working out for teams. That does not shock me. I am not surprised that Odell Beckham doesn't want to play until the playoffs. That does not shock me either. I'm not saying Odell Beckham's a bad teammate. This is not me railing against Odell Beckham. But even people who love Odell Beckham say he's a little bit of a quirky personality. Even people who love White Castle will tell you that's a little quirky of a food. It's a very small miniature steamed hamburger. It's odd. And it is whether or not you think it's an adventure or a legendary or a disaster is not based on the food. The food is the way the food has always been. White Castle hasn't come out with anything meaningfully new in a million years.
No, they haven't.
It's the same thing it's always been.
Yeah.
The only question is, how do you digest it? For you,
that is it.
It did not go well.
No, it didn't.
For my wife, who called me. My wife is out of town this week. She called me last night and said, guess what I had? I said, what? She said, White Castle. I said, was it great? She said, yes. So to me, it's not about the White Castle. It's never been about the White Castle. It's about the way you digest it. And whether or not it's going to be an adventure or a disaster isn't based on the White Castle at all.
No.
It's based on you.
It is. It's really based on your DNA, your ability to break down complex carbs.
Correct.
Very complex carbs.
And that is a very complex food simile. How did I do, Nate?
I liked it a lot.
Did I bring it today? I feel like
listen, I anytime you're going to bring White Castle to the situation, I appreciate it. Here's my thing with White Castle, though. Like I said, and here's a great question for you, Bruce. You get those without onions?
I do not. I get them straight.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, and the reason that is because of my wife. My wife likes them with onions. So.
My wife
likes them with onions.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
I feel like we've referenced that movie enough that should be part of the drinking game at some point.
I think it might have to get. We might have to interchange one of my wife or just any Borat reference.
Any Borat reference?
Any Borat reference also automatically chug. I like that.
That's fair.
My wife will never get old. It simply will not.
I feel like you have to get married so that you can do it.
I just might. Just what are you guys getting married for?
Well, there's this joke that I really want to get this joke in. And I need, you know what? Sweet. Oh, hold on just a second. Hey, babe, will you marry me? It's about a joke.
Please do it.
Please don't pack up. Wait, where are you going?
Yeah. White Castle.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, please don't yell, Bruce.
My dogs are going to kill me in the background. They heard me yelling.
They thought mom was home.
Well, they wanted to yell too. Hey,
true.
Guys, don't bark.
Relax.
It's okay. Everything's great.
By the way, you got to take a drink. Bruce mentioned one of his pets.
Say what now?
You mentioned one of your pets, so you got to drink.
Oh, gosh. We all got to take a drink, guys.
Yeah.
We all got to take a drink. What are we doing? All right, hold on.
He did that on purpose.
Okay. Drink is done. All right. Winners and losers this week in the NFL. Let's start with winners.
Okay.
And I'm going to do a winner who's historically a loser.
Oh, yeah.
It's Baker Mayfield.
It is.
Baker Mayfield just made himself, I'll bet you he made himself at least $20 million on Thursday night. And what I mean by that is Baker Mayfield is going to be a backup quarterback in the NFL now at this point.
No doubt.
At least 20 million. At least 20 million.
He could turn into Chase Daniel.
Right. If he turned into Chase Daniel, he would be fine with that from a financial standpoint. Because if you say, I can come in and run an offense with 2 days of practice, you have literally just proven you have everything that it takes to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. Baker Mayfield has just set the floor for what his career was going to be and raised it up a couple notches. And Baker Mayfield has shown up on the loser side of this column so many times. So many times. So Luke says, let Baker bake. Hashtag let Baker bake.
Let Baker bake.
That's right. Let Baker bake. Troy says, if Stafford's injury is worse than expected, he could be the starter next year. That wouldn't shock me either. It wouldn't shock me. But I think the Rams would probably try and swing something major because as long as Aaron Donald is in the center of his career, along with Cooper Kupp, they feel like they're in a 4-year window where they can win a Super Bowl, and they're going to go all in every year. And Baker Mayfield does not strike me as an all-in move.
No, but everybody keeps talking, and the Stafford injury thing, like people cryptic about it and don't really. I don't know what it is, how bad it is, but I would say that if your backup plan is Baker Mayfield in a year that you claim him off waivers, you get him for nothing. Good for the Rams. I mean, because it is egregious that the Indianapolis Colts did not put in a claim for Baker Mayfield. They have no other answers at the quarterback position. You might as well give him an opportunity. Matt Ryan is cooked. I mean, cooked. He's overcooked.
I thought it'd be the Texans.
Texans too. I mean, there are several teams that it was egregious that they did not put a claim in for Baker Mayfield. Do I think Baker Mayfield at this point in his career is a top 28 quarterback? No. But none of those teams have one either. And the only thing that I'll consider to say is you get him in the right situation with the right play caller, and who knows? And I think what you saw yesterday, even in with such a brief understanding of that offense, the wizardry of Sean McVay, when he wants to have a guy succeed, he can. And I think at the end of the Jared Goff era, he no longer really wanted to work with Jared Goff. I don't know how that relationship went sour, but I mean, Baker Mayfield's the winner this week for me too. But I'm going to bring another guy into this that is in this conversation as well. That's Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff continues to be a winner right now in Detroit, Bruce. And, for me, I would call myself a Jared Goff fan. I think he's an easy guy to root for. I think he got a raw deal in LA, a guy that, helped. He wasn't the reason why, but Matthew Stafford wasn't the reason why they made it to the Super Bowl. He led the league in interceptions last year. Made some plays in the Super Bowl, but he wasn't the reason that the LA Rams won the Super Bowl. If all was the same last year, Von Miller, OBJ, and they had Jared Goff, they probably would have won too. So I think for me, Jared Goff kind of a raw deal. He's 27, 28 years old. He's putting himself in a position this year to have a career year, which he's thrown 30 touchdowns in a season. He already has more yards and touchdowns and less interceptions than he did all of last season through week 13. So I think for me, Jared Goff's another winner in this because he's playing his way into the Detroit Lions, maybe going defense, maybe going interior defensive line, right? Early in that draft with the pick they have from the Lions pick that they have from the Rams.
I was literally about to ask you, do you think there's a chance the Lions pass on?
I think there's a chance. Especially if, let's say they have one guy in this draft that they were like, this guy over everything else. And maybe that's like I could 100% see Detroit loving Will Levis. I could see it.
I can absolutely see that. I can see them loving Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
I cannot see them loving Bryce Young.
Here's the thing. I agree with that. I think the Bryce Young conversation is not a good one for them. I don't think he's a good fit there. I would say though that if you're them, you've got Jamison Williams, Amon Ra, maybe you do go Bryce Young. But I think to me it's Will Levis. I like the Anthony Richardson play too. I think it would be high for Anthony Richardson if they're picking in the top 8, top 9. I think that's really high for Anthony Richardson based on how raw he really is. I mean, he to me is twice as raw as Josh Allen when he came out. But I think they have that same kind of
statement.
Dude, he's really
at least he played in the SEC.
Yeah, but he's played less games than Josh Allen has at the college level. Right. And frankly, he looked good in like 1 or 2 games. Yeah,
so
he played
SEC
against
Mark Sanchez then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, way better tools than Mark Sanchez they had.
I'm just talking about from an experience standpoint.
Oh yeah. Richardson that might be a really good opportunity for Richardson though, because that also might be the perfect opportunity for both those guys. Jared Goff, that might give Jared Goff 2 more years of starting availability in Detroit while Richardson sort of prepares for what it's going to be like in the NFL.
And if there's any team in the world that is going to get a rookie quarterback and then sit them for 2 years, it's the Lions.
Yeah.
Also, I want to throw this one out there. CJ Stroud has gotten a Jared Goff comp.
I didn't really like that comp.
So
I didn't really was that the Matt Miller comp too, by the way?
I don't remember who made that comp. It wasn't
Matt Miller's.
I haven't done comps yet.
Who did I see? Did I see shoot. I gotta find it. I'm gonna Google it. Matt
I saw an Anthony Richardson Cardale Jones comp that I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
I think he's more athletic than Cardale was.
But. Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah, I got to find those comps because it was not good. Matt Miller
Are you Googling something right now?
I did. I did. Yeah.
Everybody drink.
Yeah, I did.
He's Googling something. We are way off track now on the winners and losers. Yeah, no, we would never.
It could not be us.
Your mom's off track.
He put Bryce Young as Tua Tagovailoa, CJ Stroud as Dak Prescott, Will Levis, Matt Stafford.
I don't mind the Dak Prescott comp. for CJ Stroud. I don't mind that at all.
Do
you mind that?
No. I think that's probably close. It was the Bryce Young and Tua one that I can't get down with at all.
No, Bryce Young's far more of a playmaker than Tua is.
Way more.
He's also smaller.
He is smaller, and I do think though that Bryce Young is going to have a similar arm strength than as Tua when he gets to the pros. Like he doesn't have that zip that I think a guy like Will Levis has, like a guy in this draft like Anthony Richardson has. He's got that arm. Bryce Young does not. So you're going to get a lot of arm punts with him. But the thing with him is he's not Tua in that he's not going to win a lot from the pocket in the NFL. I don't think.
Really? You think he's Doug Flutie?
I'm staying the hell away from Bryce Young. He reminds me a lot of Kyler Murray. I think that is the comp for him is Kyler Murray.
But Kyler Murray's been a perfectly reasonable quarterback in the NFL.
I don't think so. I don't think he's been very good. I think the stats are inflated. I think the stats are very inflated with him. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you gave me the choice between not starting my franchise, but today, if I had a 3-year window to win a Super Bowl, and you said I had to choose between Kyler Murray, give me another one. Give me another quarterback to choose between Bryce Young, or I'm sorry, not Bryce Young, Kyler Murray and
Kyler Murray or Kirk Cousins.
I had Kirk Cousins in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Kirk Cousins.
Well, I said Kirk Cousins was a better quarterback than Kyler Murray this past offseason by one spot. I had Cousins at number 12 and Murray at number 13.
I think it's a little high for me on Kirk Cousins. I think that
Kyler Murray or Derek Carr.
No denying.
Yeah, I'm dropping absolute heaters in you right now. Just absolute heaters right on top of you. Kyler Murray or Derek Carr?
I think I would take Kyler Murray over Derek Carr. I'm not a big Derek Carr fan though. I've got serious questions about whether Kyler Murray will ever be able to lead a team to anything. I don't think he's that kind of guy. He's not the guy. He's not the gravitational type personality.
I don't think you have to be. Aaron Rodgers isn't either.
And he's won one Super Bowl. And he's one of the most talented throwers.
Ben Roethlisberger wasn't either. You can be good or you can be a good leader. Probably both, but never neither.
I don't think Big Ben. I don't think Big Ben was a bad leader. I don't think he was a good leader. I think Kyler Murray is a bad leader.
His teammates, how he felt about Big Ben. I think you can be if you're a quarterback, you can be good, or you can be a good leader. Preferably both.
Would you say that Kyler Murray has good is talent is like from a talent perspective?
Yes,
good or great? How would you describe it?
Talent perspective, he's great.
Yeah.
He has a great arm. He has great mobility. He has good ball placement.
I think he has great mobility. I think he has great mobility.
He has a great arm. He has a really good arm.
I'm going to stop short in telling you I think he's great. I think he's good, but I don't think he's good enough to be a guy that's going to take his team to meaningful games in January.
I would love to see Kyler Murray in an offensive system that wasn't Cliff Kingsbury's.
Yeah, I would.
Kingsbury is not good.
No, he's not. I would
give me Kyler Murray in Kevin Stefanski's offense.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No.
Give me boots out the back end. Give me boots out the back end.
Give me
hard
Kyler
play
Murray,
action.
Kyler Murray and Nick Sirianni's offense.
No, you can't do Sirianni.
Yeah. Why?
What, interior quarterback runs with a 5'10" quarterback?
Well, he wouldn't necessarily be interior quarterback runs. I mean, he's not. Jalen Hurts is like 5'11". Give me a break.
Jalen Hurts is also built like a brick house.
Yeah, brick shit house. I know, but like I like the passing concepts and the things that he does with Jalen Hurts. He leans very well into. Oh gosh.
See, no, Matt.
No,
Matt. I don't want to see anyone in Greg Roman's offense, Matt. What are you doing to us, Matt? Jared says Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. Exactly. Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. Kyler Murray, very wisely, mind you, slides before anyone touches him.
I am not a Kevin Stefanski fan, so you won't see me wanting to see anyone in Kevin Stefanski's offense.
Dude, Look what he did. Look at Jacoby Brissett did in Kevin Stefanski's offense.
Okay.
Jacoby Brissett was a top 12 quarterback in Kevin Stefanski's offense. That's a top 10 offense with Jacoby freaking Brissett.
The best running game in football, one of the best offensive lines. I could put up top 20 numbers, Bruce.
That was a top passing offense. And Deshaun Watson did not look good. Did not look good.
I don't know, Bruce. I'm not a fan of Stefanski. I don't think Stefanski's going to be around very long. The team's not good. They thought they were a quarterback away. They're not.
No, but that's because of the defense, not because Stefanski's not a good offensive play
Stefanski's not a good game manager.
No, but he's a good offensive play call, and that's all we're talking about.
So he'll be an offensive coordinator somewhere. I think his offense is built for 8 years ago. I don't think it's built for today.
All right, so who you got for a loser? Do you have a loser?
I kind of forgot because we were.
Are you the loser?
I might be. I think we're all collectively.
There it is. We're all collectively the loser. Take a drink. We're all the loser because Nate forgot his loser. I'm going to go first.
Yeah, you go first. I'll.
The Raiders are the losers.
Oh yeah.
The Raiders are the losers for so many reasons. Not only did you lose to Baker Mayfield's Rams after he was there for 2 days, but you can't fire Josh McDaniels. You can't.
No.
The rumors of the Raiders being cash poor has existed forever. And the reason they don't fire coaches is because they don't want to pay them. Because coaches' contracts are guaranteed. The Raiders and the Broncos were both two of the hold my beer teams this offseason. They went and got Devontae Adams. They went and got Russell Wilson. The AFC West. Do you remember all the narratives about the AFC West this offseason?
I thought the Raiders could win the West.
Well, that didn't work out.
As Lee Corso famously says, not so fast.
Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast.
That's right.
So it turns out it's the same thing as always is the Chiefs dominating the division.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill being there doesn't really matter.
Nope.
But the Raiders are the biggest loser because it wasn't like they didn't try this offseason. They did. They went and tried to build a new regime this offseason. They went and got who I think is the best receiver in football in Devontae Adams. Who it turns out Aaron Rodgers needed Devontae Adams a lot more than Devontae Adams needed Aaron Rodgers.
That's a bingo.
And you went and got the best receiver in football. Your hand-picked GM and head coaching combo.
Yep.
And you just lost to a Rams team that's the shell of themselves and is starting a quarterback who got there 2 days ago. I saw a tweet.
No Aaron Donald. No Cooper Kupp.
No Allen Robinson.
No Allen Robinson. Their starting left tackle was out. Their starting right tackle was out. Starting
Matt
center
Stafford's
was out.
gone.
Just crazy. Quarterback that was there for, they kept saying 48 hours. He got in on Tuesday. He didn't even get a full 48 hours.
Right. So for me, when I look at this scenario, I saw a great tweet. It said, the Rams literally Amazon primed themselves a quarterback, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. They ordered a quarterback on Amazon Prime and he got there next day.
That is funny.
So for me, when I think about that, I think it wasn't because you didn't try.
No.
You tried and you failed, and that makes it worse.
That does make it worse.
And that gives you, and also your number one source of offense this year is a free agent at the end of the year because you didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So your number one source of offense this year is also a running back, which is never a good thing.
No, never.
You don't want a running back to be the centerpiece of your team.
Especially a running back whom you didn't pick up the fifth-year option and is now in a contract
you have no
year,
team control,
leading the league in rushing because now you're going to be convinced you have to pay him. I don't believe, by the way, I don't believe the Raiders will pay him. I don't think they can.
No. So for me,
hopefully
biggest loser, Raiders.
Okay, I do remember what mine was, by the way.
All right, I'm ready.
And it does include a group of people. And it's part of it is people that watch Football Night in America and also people that watch Notre Dame football on Saturdays because Jason Garrett unfortunately turned down the Stanford job and will be staying with NBC to do broadcasts. For that, we all lose. None of us win. in a situation where on a weekend basis during the most important time of the year, college and the NFL football season, we have to watch an actual robot human alien perform for us. And it's like, it's just the performance no one ever asked for. And listen, I think I think a lot of people give Collinsworth a hard time. Chris Collinsworth, that is. I'm not like a fan or Chris Collinsworth defender. I just think people give him a hard time. I think he's fine. But his son is just the walking definition of, I don't think he's good enough to be calling play-by-play on NBC for the greatest college football program to ever grace our green earth. Like, they're the only team on national television every single week. And Jack Collinsworth and Jason Garrett, that's what I got to deal with on Saturdays. And then on Sundays, I got to watch him in Football Night in America with the other, like, looks like his face is stapled on, and Tony Dungy. Like, it's a weird aesthetic watching Tony Dungy, who, again, is very monotoned and very light and just kind of has a lot to say. And then you got Jason Garrett, who's like he looks like he's, like, his face is stapled back. I don't know. I'm unhappy about it, so we're all losers.
Just so you know, I get Gus Johnson is what I get. You get Jason Garrett, I get Gus Johnson.
You don't like Gus Johnson?
No, I love Gus Johnson.
Oh.
That's the point. I'm rubbing it in.
Oh, okay. I see.
I'm rubbing it in right now because I love Gus Johnson. A lot of people don't like Gus Johnson, and those people are wrong.
Those people are absolutely wrong. Listen, like,
they don't love fun.
I'm trying to remember Notre Dame broadcasters. I got to find the old school broadcast team. I want to say it's the guy that maybe currently does CBS, SEC games. But Notre Dame had such a long history of really good announcers on TV. And yeah, like what we're dealing with now is Paul McGuire was a color commentary guy for Notre Dame in 1995. I bet you didn't know that.
I did not know that. I
didn't know it. Chris Collinsworth, 92 to 94. Just, they're just giving it to people, I guess, who were family of Chris Collinsworth. That's the thing I don't love, is it just feels like Chris Collinsworth got the job because his dad was, Paul Burmeister. He was a play-by-play guy for Notre Dame for a while. Tom Hammond was a good one.
I love the fact that Richard Rush is in the comments section telling everybody when they're supposed to drink. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
Again.
I love it.
Drink again.
I absolutely love it. It'll never, ever, ever get old for me.
No.
Looking in the comment section and having people go, drink. You're supposed to drink. Come on, guys. What are you doing? Everybody drinks.
I will say, I miss Tirico. Tirico's great on Sunday Night Football, but I miss him on Notre Dame game day.
I'm an Iron Eagle guy personally.
Ooh, I also like Iron Eagle.
Solid.
Also like Iron Eagle a lot. What's not to like about Iron Eagle?
Underrated, just tremendously underrated.
You know who else I like is Mark Kestisher. He's I think Westwood One Radio.
Yeah,
does the games beautifully for a radio guy. But in my humble opinion, I think one of the current best play-by-play announcers in football, Paul Allen, Minnesota.
Strong.
Very, very, very good.
All right, Nate, we did it.
We did do it. We did
the things, man. I think I'm going to go to bed early tonight.
Ooh.
I'm exhausted. I have been exhausted from cleaning up dog-inflicted wounds on my carpet today. And
it's tough.
I had myself my whiskey and root beer, and I think I'm going to go to bed.
Mm.
I'm not after this. I'm gonna produce doing the stuff I have to do.
I kind of feel like I might go get a little root beer tonight. You've been really selling it hard for me, and I haven't had it in a while. Root beer.
Get a good root beer.
I kind of want to do like root beer and bourbon.
Dude, do it.
Yeah, I think you might have convinced me.
I would not steer you wrong, man.
Okay,
I would never. Well, folks, I hope you had a good time. I hope that you enjoyed the drinking game, and I hope you enjoyed the shenanigans, the tomfoolery, all of the words that we use to describe hijinks.
Hijinks, yes.
Hijinks. Got to use hijinks. But most importantly, aside from all that, I hope you didn't leave hungry.
Go Army.